Alright. Feels weird to be back here, because we've not recorded in 2 or 3 weeks, really.
No, we haven't.
Luckily, we've got lots of stuff in the backlog. Hopefully you're enjoying some Quatermass stuff. Lake 7, continuing
The
as
one
always.
Quatermass stuff.
Today, last time on Big Finish Doctor Who audios, we talked about spare parts.
Yeah, we did.
Today, we're moving on to our 6th Doctor story, Doctor Who and the Pirates.
Indeed. Indeed.
Now, before we properly get into this, I said to you, there's 2 things that I said before we started listening to this one.
Right.
I said, 1, you're gonna recognise the music. You're gonna notice it.
Yeah. Right.
Did you notice the music?
There was some. There was, especially in part 3, there's
some music.
Yeah.
The other thing I said is that there was not necessarily a very famous actor, but there would be someone that you would recognise.
Yeah.
Now, you said that you think you know who it is. Do you want to...
Bill Oddie.
Absolutely.
Yes! Yeah, I will admit it took me a little bit of time, but within the first part, I got it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. Yeah. It especially reminded me of that brief time he did appear as a pirate in Punky Business.
Yeah.
That episode.
Because it's the same voice, isn't it?
It is. It's pretty much the same. Yeah. And this time it is played a bit, well, I say seriously, a little bit more. He does play a more villainous
Well, we'll get
character
into it, yeah, I suppose. But yes, you're right. Bill Oddie... Well, let's talk about this now. Bill Oddie, the character of Red Jasper, does just flip from being quite funny to actually really quite scary.
Yeah.
Which is good, really good on Bill Oddie's part. Of being able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I never really think of him as
a dramatic
being
actor,
either dramatic or being a voice
Mm.
actor, although I suppose, in the goodies he's very energetic, shall we say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it translates very well.
Overall thoughts then, to start off with?
Very much liked it. Quite a lot. It was, the tone of it was, it did jump from being quite fun and sort of humorous to being very sad. Yeah, at first I didn't know how I felt about that, especially in part 3, where both extremes are there.
Yeah.
It was a little bit disorienting in that part, but the rest of it I thought was fantastically done. I love that part, but it was weird sort of getting used to that.
It's something that Doctor Who does do. There are stories that are like this. If we think of specifically, things like The Green Death, which does go from very funny, very sad, action-packed, and later on in the 7th Doctor's era as well. There's dramatic and funny. Like the contrast is.
I think here it stands out more.
Yeah, it's extreme here.
Yeah,
it's got everything. It's got the sadness.
It really does.
It's got the comedy, the musical.
Yeah, it was interesting, but it did go full pirate in the atmosphere, the music, the way the characters were written. Yeah, It's a full-on high seas tale. Right from the first part, I did pick up on the music, and they really want you to sort of get into that atmosphere.
Oh yeah,
and.
Talking right at the beginning, let's start there. So the intro, the very first thing, do you remember it, that you hear? It's a really loud, piercing noise, but it's the music, as you hear. It's like a loud whistle. It's a harmonica, maybe. The first thing, right off the off, I thought it was really interesting.
Okay.
And it doesn't even start with pirates. It starts with the knocking on the door and
yes, of course,
having tea and cake.
Yes, of course, that whole thing, which I also really liked about the overarching, was the story being narrated. Like there is a story being told
within the story.
Yes, yes, it's a story within a story.
Yeah.
And it gives us more background into Evelyn. Evelyn, not used quite interestingly throughout the story.
It is. It's almost like a pantomime in the way that it's being told. You know, the back and forth, switching out characters.
Oh yeah, yeah.
John Johnson, Bill Bilson.
It plays
It's so funny.
It plays with the notion of storytelling.
It does, yeah, in a big way.
Yeah.
In a way that you can only do in audio. You couldn't do it in film like this.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you can have things like a potentially unreliable narrator.
Yeah. The thing that I don't think would work particularly would be the constant interjections that Evelyn has, where she's almost narrating what's happening as it's changing, as she's changing the story.
Okay, I get that. Yeah, it does work pretty well for audio specifically, because I mean, I guess you can sort of picture some things in your head, and based on what they're saying. Yeah. No, the fast pace definitely works for the audio, actually. Yeah.
And the script is just possibly one of the funniest scripts.
Oh yeah, it's on point.
There's ever been. It's let's bring up the Big Finish site for it.
Yeah, that would help.
So it's actually subtitled "The Last That Lost a Sailor."
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Well, it's not in the
this is a
title,
different.
This is on the cover. So it's written by Jacqueline Rayner,
Right. Yeah.
who does a lot of Big Finish stuff, I think.
Okay.
She did the other Evelyn Smythe one as well. The one that
Marian Conspiracy
as well. She did
Well,
that too.
Yeah, no surprise then that this is great. I mean,
yeah.
And there's another Sixth Doctor and Evelyn story.
Yeah. She writes for the Sixth Doctor, I think, better than anybody else.
Oh yeah, this is. Yeah, can I say this is probably my favourite Sixth Doctor story.
Well, including of all the TV ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
That's not an uncommon thing. Like I said, the Sixth Doctor really comes into his own Big Finish. You know, a lot. This is, I think, listening to this story for the first time was the thing that put him up there as not maybe my favourite or second favourite. He's in the top two, I think.
Right.
Doubloons, bless you. You know, there's like the script and Colin Baker's timing. Why couldn't it have been like this on TV?
Exactly. It makes you think about the potential that could have been there had they gotten the right writers.
Yeah, and I think this is where Colin Baker wanted the character to go eventually on TV.
Yeah,
to be like a lot more warm, a lot more caring, a lot more funny. Unfortunately, kicked out of the job.
Well. We eventually did get that, though, in the form of this.
Yeah,
so
at the beginning there's some references to things.
Yes!
So they talk about stories in history that the Doctor has met, and they mention that he doesn't like to talk about the Great Fire.
Yeah, that was the first one that I caught. The visitation. Yeah, once again, really reminds you of all the history that the Doctor's been part of.
Infectious squirter, arouse the street!
Yeah, there was quite a few of those sort of references to other stories.
Yeah.
There was like a direct Earth shock.
Yes, I wasn't sure if it
on
wasn't.
On this ship, we execute those.
I
that
wrote that
has to be a reference to Earth shock.
Is it?
On this ship, we execute murderers.
It is exactly
almost
the
exact
line.
same.
I didn't know if it was just a coincidence because that was subtle enough that it could have just been.
No. As soon as I heard it, I was like, "Yeah, that's Earthshock."
Okay, we both picked up on that. Okay, that's definitely from Earthshock then.
Yeah.
In this part, we also meet Sally.
Yes, one of the students.
Yeah, one of the students who is sort of quite unlikable, really, at the beginning.
Yeah, she's like really skeptical and dismissive of even telling the story.
Yeah.
Like she just doesn't want to hear about it. And yeah.
And you don't know why at this point.
Yeah, she might just think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, have you even had that story? Like, are you even telling the truth?
Right, exactly.
Because it's such a...
It is a ridiculous...
unbelievable thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's understandable that she would have that skepticism at the beginning.
Sure, yeah.
You know, but obviously, that doesn't remain the case.
And it was kind of at this point that I sort of noticed how good the directing is. I'm not sure if you noticed this. But inside Sally's apartment, in the background, it's so subtle. You hear the clock ticking. It's just constantly.
I don't know if I picked up on that.
No, I just loved how
Oh, maybe I did.
subtle it is, that it just makes you feel like you're there. Same thing when on the ship, just the creaking of
the waves
of the boat, and when it's Evelyn and another character that we'll get onto, Captain Swan, when they're hiding in the barrels.
Yes, you can hear them.
Just the muffled.
Very immersive sound design in it.
Captain Swan, as we were saying, what?
Yes, Captain Swan, another addition to the wonderful cast of characters. This
It really is.
Yeah, he's like this fancy, self-centered kind of captain.
Yes,
who believes he's the greatest.
He's so funny, and a character like that could, if not done with subtlety and care, that could easily be a very terrible, over-the-top character.
Yeah, it could have been, but because there's these other characters that riff on him, and they play off each other.
Yeah,
it works. It
does. Some of his lines are so funny. Betrayed by my own stowaway is a particular favourite. That's so good. I don't know if you picked up on this. He reminded me of another, a similar captain. Not from Doctor Who.
Not from Doctor Who.
Reminded me very much of Kenneth Williams as Captain Fearless.
In Jack.
In Carry On Jack.
Oh, why didn't I think of... I should have thought of that film.
Can he keep his vest on?
Oh, yes, rather. There is a bit of a nip in the air. We don't want him to catch cold. In fact, it might be a good idea to wait for a better day.
Permission granted!
It feels almost like it could be exactly the same character. And it's actually not a very similar plot, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
stowaways and fighting for power.
Yeah. And you end up with the captain and the stowaways having to sail in a ship when the pirates have taken theirs.
Yes!
There's a lot of parallels with Carry On Jack, actually. I'm wondering if maybe Jacqueline Rayner had watched this.
Wouldn't be surprised.
No.
Would not be surprised. I should have picked up on that. That's one of my favourite characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was missing the mistaken identity.
Yes.
That's the main...
We kind of got that with Gem.
A little bit.
In a way.
Not exactly, though.
Where it's where we're looking for the map. It thinks it's his dad, but it's actually the son. We'll get onto that. I just wrote down that I thought this was the wittiest script in City of Death.
Oh, wow. That's very high praise coming from you.
Yeah. It's like you're in the mind of the writer, trying to figure out what should happen in the scene as it's happening. It's like you're listening to the writer's thoughts as they're writing it within the story.
Yeah, just that I really love the framing device of the narration, and with the Doctor, contributing as well, and it kind of feeling like a reflection on storytelling and on Doctor Who, and how people, I guess, respond to, fiction, and people's suspension of disbelief kind of.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. That is one of the things that it does explore, is how people react to storytelling and the impact that it can have.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's an interesting point there. Alright, so moving on to part 2.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the recap is, but I wrote down that it's a literal recap as the Doctor makes tea. Oh, yes. So he's literally saying, when we left off,
yes,
it's a literal recap. Funny, again, a commentary on storytelling, but specific to Doctor Who, where you would have a recap at the beginning.
Yeah.
Now we've got someone telling us what happened in the last part, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Just utterly genius.
It's and it's here where we start to it's here where some parts of the storytelling start to get interesting, because when Evelyn is telling a part of the story with Gem.
Yes.
With Gem, she uses Sally as a substitute.
Yes.
Momentarily, and then Sally's like, "Wait a minute, I'm not in this story. What are you talking about?" Yeah.
And that's hilarious, but also knowing what's coming later is really sad. When you found out later what that Sally had died, but they'd gone back to before. Did you think back to this point and think, oh, that's why Evelyn substituted Jem when you found out what happened to Jem and that the Sally parallel? Did you think back?
I think I did.
Interesting, okay. So this part really, Bill Oddie is still funny but getting scarier. And it's like a progression down the scale of starting really, really funny. Oh gosh.
Yeah, start to really see his true character.
yeah. It's just, I mean, I've got to give credit to the director as well. I presume that they would have had input. Who was it? Let's find out. Is it Barnaby Edwards?
Oh my word. Alright, I'm not going to say any more about your ability to... Your extensive knowledge of directors.
At least I'm mad and rich from Red Jasper. And I think it was around this point. It was around this point that I stopped writing things down, really, because I was just listening to it.
Sure.
Of course, the cliffhanger to part 2.
Oh my word! What a cliffhanger indeed.
That might be my favourite cliffhanger ever.
It's funny, but because of the unpredictability, I don't know. It has that slight feeling of dread, but also because you don't know, if you especially if you've never heard the Doctor singing, well, then not knowing what's exactly about to come, because it could be any kind of musical.
Yes, you don't know what he's going to sing. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Interestingly, we do hear that, well, not sing, but do you remember in Terror of the Vervoids, I want to say, right at the end, where Mel, it's the first Mel story, where they're going back into the TARDIS to leave right at the very end, and Mel just turns to the guest cast and says,
Well, at least if you're laughing, you can't be singing. Have you ever heard his rendering of On with the Motley? Count your blessings. Bye.
So it's so in character with the Sixth Doctor to be this theatrical and musical.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that ending. Yeah, part 2 is where I did catch on that Jem was probably going to die.
Yeah.
That is a thought that I had, because the way Evelyn was kind of being protective and a little bit vulnerable, I thought, something bad's probably going to happen to her.
Do they say it? They do say it at some point quite early on.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I can't remember if it was I think it might have been part 2.
Which is interesting, because you'd think that spoilers, that's going to spoil what happens later. But it doesn't.
Yeah, you still have the feeling that it might not go exactly that way.
Yeah. How did Jacqueline Rayner do that?
I think it's because a lot of the storytelling is changed. They go back and forth.
Right.
You don't know exactly what's real. Yeah, it is very... thinking about it, it is actually very well, meticulously written.
It is. It really is. Alright, so part 3.
Part 3, the Doctor Who musical. I can't say I expected anything like it.
No.
Pretty much the entire cast gets their own song.
Yeah.
Well, each cast member gets their own song.
Yeah.
And I think I wrote what I thought of it. Hold on. Yeah, and in the Doctor's introductory song, there's countless references.
Yeah.
Countless references. He's basically telling his life story in that song.
That is exactly what he's doing. It's, in a way, I think it's almost a shame that one's first, because it's by far and away the best.
The model of a Gallifreyan Buccaneer.
I think we just have to do a little lyrical analysis here.
Alright, here we go.
This song, probably. I do not see any other Doctor, any other actor, doing this quite so well.
Breaking into song and...
Doing this whole story.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, particularly the musical aspect of it. The Doctor, I think John Pertwee would probably give it a good go. but I think it works better with the Sixth Doctor. I think the Second Doctor, maybe Troughton could do it.
I'm not sure. I'm not so sure.
If any other actor could that's played the Doctor that we've seen, I think it would be Troughton, but I'm not sure it would be quite this good.
No, yeah, thinking about it, yeah. But yeah, let's have a look at these lyrics.
I think maybe Tennant would have a good go at it.
Well, I can't say on that front.
So, I am the very model of a Gallifreyan Buccaneer.
Yeah, and he says that in the second part, generally.
Yeah, and that's the cliffhanger. It's so good. I've information all things a Gallifreyan holds most dear.
Yeah. Linked. Yeah, I didn't catch some of these things.
I know,
because
this is why we're
so
going through it. I've linked into the Matrix, which is excitronic circuitry. What's that from?
Yes, Deadly Assassin.
I understand dimensional and relative chronometry. I'm very well acquainted...
Dimension and relative?
What? Dimensional and relative chronometry.
Time and relative dimension.
Yeah. I'm very well acquainted too with matters of the capital. I mean, this is just every Gallifrey story, because that's what it's called, the capital.
Yeah.
I'll give you verse and chapter on Panopticonian Protocol. The Panopticon is obviously Deadly Assassin and Invasion of Time.
Okay.
I've been into the Death Zone and I've played the game of Rassilon.
Yes.
With pestilential monsters that I got a lot of hassle from.
My goodness.
5 Doctors.
Did you happen to write these lyrics? Or?
I am guessing so, yeah.
Yeah, and there's like backing singing.
Yeah,
as well.
it's so
full on production.
And we have to give credit to the composer as well. I think he was called Timothy Sutton. Timothy Sutton.
Yes.
I've never heard of him, but he does the music. Not even just these songs, but the background music as well.
Yeah, the score is great as well. I love it. It's like a perfect blend of like of pirate music and Doctor Who music. It still feels like Doctor Who.
It does, and the fact that it's obviously like electronic music. It's clearly not an orchestra. I think that helps. That gives it charm. If it was a real full orchestra, I don't think it would work.
That would make it too operatic.
It would
not quite going for that.
It wouldn't be charming. It would just be. It wouldn't play well into the tone of it. I don't think. I've tackled shady Castellans with devious behaviour.
Castellan. Yeah, I know that, but
Invasion of Time.
Oh.
That's from. I've sparred with Time Lord Chancellors like Thalia, Goth, and Flavia.
Right.
Do you recognise those?
I think.
Goth is Deadly Assassin.
Oh,
Who goes into the Matrix and they have the fight.
Yeah.
Thalia is Arc of Infinity.
Yeah.
Well, now that I'm here, Thalia, have you given any thought to what's happened?
There hasn't been much time, Doctor.
And Flavia is, I want to say, Invasion of Time again. Oh no, it's the 5 Doctors.
Yeah.
To disobey the will of the High Council will attract the severest penalties.
Very well, Chancellor Flavia.
So she's the one that says, "You're going to be president." Right at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
In fact, on some occasions, I've held office presidentially.
Well, he's technically had that role.
Though maybe I won't mention I was ousted out eventually.
Oh my word.
Know just how it feels to be a wanted man and on the run.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the life of the Doctor.
But wouldn't leave the carefree buccaneering life for anyone. He is like a pirate. He stole his ship.
Yeah.
He stole the TARDIS.
Yeah.
I've sailed the 7 seas of Earth and all the oceans of the moon. My trusty true Type 40 is my Gallifreyan picaroon.
The TARDIS?
Yeah. Type 40 TARDIS. But is this really what the average Gallifreyan holds most dear? I wonder what they think about this Gallifreyan Buccaneer. I don't know how they recorded this, but some of the speed at which Colin Baker goes here is utterly crazy. How long did he spend practicing? But I've defeated evil robots such as Daleks, Quarks.
Names.
Quarks. Should we just keep saying that word again for 5 minutes? Quarks. Quirks.
No, it's not. It's not. But yeah, this is where all of the
Cybermen.
Yeah, this is where all the villains are named.
I've overthrown dictators from Tobias Vaughan
Yes.
to Mavic Chen. So, interestingly, Mavic Chen is from Dalek's Master Plan.
Okay.
Interestingly, so that's Mavic Chen,
No.
and that's Tobias Vaughan.
Right.
It's the same actor.
Oh. Right.
And that's such a great joke. You pick two dictators that are played by the same person.
Okay.
That's so subtly hilarious.
Right, it's the kind of thing you just cannot think of the first time.
No, absolutely
around.
not. I've rescued helpless maidens from the devastating Viking hordes. When do we see Vikings? The Time Meddler.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Vanquished Autons, Axons, demons,
demons.
Crotons, Monoids,
Yes.
Vampires, Vords.
Yes. Yes. A lot of ons.
Earth, Menusa. What's Menusa? Snake Dance.
Oh. Okay. Snake dance.
Dogkiss. What's Dogkiss from?
Can't remember.
The Dominators. Skonos.
This goes deep into Doctor Who. Ones of Naimon.
Yep. Tigella. Meglos.
Oh! Okay.
Earth once more.
Did they even mention these in the story?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Well,
In
Earth,
short,
obviously.
In short, I know I am the truest Rassilonian legatee. Now, here is a reference.
I think I get it.
You think you get it?
Hecate.
Hecate, not sure if that's canonical.
K9 the company.
Yeah.
I need from the chanting.
That's about it, but yes.
But wait. Oh, no. Okay, that's stupid. No. I was just about to say a very nitpicky criticism.
Oh, go on.
But the Doctor didn't experience K9 and Company, so how would he know?
Yeah, well.
It's just a fun nod.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, you've ruined this story for me now. We are done with that song.
But yeah, that song is... No, that's incredible. That is fantastic. Wow, I can't believe all of those... Yeah, every line has a detail.
Yes. And again, we talked about the music behind it, but in the line where they're talking about going into the Matrix, you just hear the little electronic
I didn't.
sound that they use in The Deadly Assassin, maybe even.
Yeah, this is a story to be analysed, like to be studied.
You could write essays on this. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a studyable.
Yeah.
You could do a thesis.
Thesis: Doctor Who and the Pirates and why it succeeds.
And then more stories come along. So again, a particularly really interesting thing is we actually learn about the Sally background with the road accident halfway through a song in canon.
Right. Okay. That is one thing I failed to completely pick up on. Obviously, I knew something had happened with Sally, but I didn't exactly get it. Realise what it was. So it was a road accident with...
Yeah, so she was in a road accident and her friend was killed.
Right. Okay.
And she felt so bad about that. And that's supposed to parallel Evelyn's guilt at Jem being killed because she thinks it's her fault.
Yeah, I knew there was something going on. Just some of the specifics that I had failed to pick up on.
Yeah, it's again so subtle. It's in the song halfway through. Sally just joins in canon, unless you're listening to specifically Sally's part of the lyrics. It's hard to you wouldn't necessarily know that that's what the story was.
Do I even know what I think of this story? Because I'm just learning so much about it just through our discussion.
Mm-hmm. It perhaps needs a couple of listens because there's much more depth to it which is crazy because there's so much depth on First Go.
Yeah. Oh my word.
Evil Evelyn to the rescue.
Evil Evelyn. Yeah, that was a nice little twist, kind of. Well, not really a twist, just a fun spur of the moment.
Yeah,
thing.
Just that whole thing. Evelyn having her own moment is so funny.
Yeah.
Her cardigan is red, like blood. Shout out to Dairy Milk.
Oh yes, there was a Dairy Milk mention. I don't know if I have a note of that. Dairy Milk product placement time.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah. As Paradise Towers could have been a moment where a group is brought together by a
Oh yes.
thing.
Yeah.
But obviously in that there wasn't any specific Brens.
It becomes very dark during the Pirate King song.
Yes. Yeah. That's when it goes back to being serious.
Hurrah for the Pirate King.
Yeah. And the part 3 ends in the most piratey way possible, walking the plank.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another great cliffhanger. Yeah.
We've had that cliffhanger before in Doctor Who.
We have.
Yeah.
I can't remember the story specifically,
The
but I know we
Pirate
have.
Planet.
The Pirate Planet, of course it would be. Now, that wasn't as much of a pirate story directly.
Although the walking the plank thing there is hilarious too. Douglas Adams. What's
Yeah,
with-
Douglas Adams made everything hilarious.
Yes. Well, that's why I would compare Jacqueline Rayner to him. Although Douglas Adams probably would not be as good at the serious stuff, the drama of this. In a way, I think this is a better script.
It has more layers to it.
It does. It has
Much
way
more.
more layers. Again, the Sixth Doctor just being so good. Even when he's walked the plank, he doesn't care himself. He's like, Evelyn, are you okay? Like, you're drowning, Doctor. Care about yourself. Just all of that that egotism that the Sixth Doctor started with, all of that has gone.
Yeah, it's a different character. It's a
pretty
really
much
different
is.
character to like the twin dilemma.
Oh, yeah.
Egotism, psychopathy. It's yeah. I think I prefer this. This is
And just the script continues, even with all of the horrific things that Red Jasper is doing, all of the sadness with Sally and Jem. It's still funny, you know. All of the Ruby Islands look like animals. That's so brilliant. Mutiny Squared. Mutiny Squared. It's a Captain Swan line.
yeah. Okay.
His many hours on an exercise bike have helped him climb the cliff, which obviously is the reference to Mel and
Yeah.
again Terror of the Vervoid.
25, 26, 27, 28.
No other show I think could get away with how Red Jasper is defeated.
Oh yeah, that's.
You've got
It doesn't feel like a big. Yeah, it doesn't feel so much like a big defeat as it just like a trick.
yeah.
Which might be even crueler.
Yeah. It's so humiliating, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and
It's
the
so
pin
funny.
the tail on the donkey.
And the fact that he has no idea as well. Pin the.
Yeah.
I've written it the wrong way around. I've written pin the donkey on the tail.
What?
That should be the other way around.
Okay.
Pin the tail on the donkey. Yeah.
Yeah, and it plays into the humour of the story. And
Yeah.
It's a perfect way to end it, considering that.
Mhm. Yeah, and it wouldn't be a pirate story if someone wasn't marooned.
Yes, stranded on island.
And then after all that, you go back to the TARDIS when they've left the Ruby Islands.
Yeah, and there's still so much more to discuss.
Yeah. And I just thought hearing the TARDIS sound was very strange in this story.
Was it?
I don't know, it felt weird to be back in the TARDIS. It
felt like being back at home in a way.
Yeah, but it felt... It sounds ridiculous to say, but it made it feel real. Like this was an actual Doctor Who story and not something that they've just made up. Because obviously the whole time you're going through and Evelyn's telling the story.
Yeah, right.
The TARDIS being there makes you think, well, okay, so this actually happened. And it's not just a made-up thing.
Yeah, that is a really good point, actually. I didn't really think of that. I was just...
And yeah, of course, we learned why they've gone there to tell the story in the first place.
Yeah.
The fact that the Doctor is not doing this for Sally at all. He's doing it for Evelyn. Beautiful end. How it all comes full circle if you just have one person who cares.
Yeah, that his final speech might be my favourite Sixth Doctor moment ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this whole story is.
Mm-hmm.
Like this whole story. Yeah, this is. Yeah, it's the defining one, and it also does end a little bit on more musical aspects. A little closing vocal from Sally to suggest that the future will be better.
Yeah.
And then a piratey version of the Doctor Who theme.
Yeah, that's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, a nice way to end it off.
You know what?
What?
It's a Simpsons episode.
It is. It is! Yeah,
I've just noticed.
it's a Simpsons episode.
And it's a really good one.
Yeah,
It's a
Golden
Simpsons-
Age
it's
Simpsons.
it's a Simpsons episode, but in Doctor Who with Doctor Who characters. Then you
It
get the
really
pirate theme
is.
at the end to match what's happened. But it's the historical. Yeah.
That is a comparison I never expected to hear, but it works so well.
Yeah.
Oh, my
I just
word.
noticed that.
Oh my word. It goes even further. Closing thoughts. I don't know. This has been a journey. Just talking about it has been a wonderful journey.
And I'm sure we've not covered everything.
No. We need to. We might. We could do another video. We could do another discussion video.
It's fun, it's tragic, it's adventurous.
It's everything.
It is. You know what it is? You know, it was something else that it feels like. It feels like Shakespeare. I think this is...
Wow,
It's a Shakespeare play in the 21st century in Doctor Who. It has... You know, I can see elements of The Tempest coming into this. Of like a classical Shakespeare tragedy. A Shakespeare comedy, you know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The writing and the tones of it... Shakespeare meets Douglas Adams meets... I don't know, it's so good. Stories are often, and again this is something else that I've written down here, stories are often technically very good, like The Caves of Androzani,
Yeah.
which is produced incredibly well, the script is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Or they are favourites, like City of Death, where
Yeah.
it's not necessarily the best directed thing in the world, but it's just so fun and enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
But it's not often that something is both, and I think that this is both.
It is.
Yeah,
It is both. Yeah.
it's both like almost perfect from a production point of view, in every single way, and it's also so much fun and so enjoyable to listen to.
Mm-hmm. It was a real roller coaster. It was a roller coaster in audio form, in audio narrative form.
I think it's time for scores.
It is.
2, 1.
Yeah. It couldn't be anything anything
really
else.
couldn't.
It just couldn't. And as the end theme was playing, I wrote in my notes, "This is it. This is the one. Colin finally gets his 10 out of 10 story. They did it."
Yeah.
Uh,
Out of interest, what would you give Marion Conspiracy?
Probably a 9.
Okay,
possibly.
so that's both Big Finish stories, higher than
Yeah.
anything on TV, but quite a long way as well.
Yeah.
This is my favourite thing in all of Doctor Who.
Wow. Wow.
In TV, Big Finish, books, comics, anything.
I remember some time ago you said to me, and yeah, I'm going to talk about this. That's okay. Didn't you say that it was a newer episode of one of Peter Capaldi's that was your favourite thing?
I didn't say
anything ever?
favourite, and this links back to my last one, technically good.
Technically, okay. So that, yeah, okay.
I think that one that I'm talking about there is the quality of television is the highest that it's ever been.
So you'd say that you think that was the best Doctor Who
From a technical point of view, yeah.
and then this is
It's enjoyable as well, very much so, but
right. Okay,
I don't think it's quite as enjoyable as this.
that is Obviously you wrote Andromeda as an example. Yeah, that's how I felt about it. That technically it was basically perfect, but the story itself I thought was like good, but not as good as a lot of others.
That's why I put it down there as the example, because I knew you'd relate to that.
Yeah, for me it is definitely the best when it has both things, as you've put. When it's both technically amazing, but you also really get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, unless it's like completely exceptional in one or the other, to the point where you just can't believe it. Yeah. but yeah, this is it. This is truly excellent.
Well, next time we've got we'll move on to a 7th Doctor Big Finish.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember which one I noted down.
Vulcan?
Fires of Vulcan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that'll be interesting. All right.
Yeah. Well, I will get started on that soon. I'm gonna give some time to let this settle, but yeah, that'll be coming in the future.